Well, you can continue your presentations.
Okay, thank you very much. So,
Well,
very good afternoon to all. So, today my presentation is on the review of deep learning multiclassifier model to detect COVID-19. So, in this model, so I first find out that what are the particular detection, what are various detection scheme to detect whether the patient is COVID or 19. So first, let me discuss about the introduction part. So first, you know that in the particular scenario, now actually the start, this COVID-19 was start in China in 2019. The various procedure, acute pneumonia, or in many cases, if the subject has low immune system, can die. In spite of the fact this virus has relatively less mortality rate, but the major problem is that it is very contaminated. That means any type of touch among the people, it can contaminate all the affected people without any significant symptom. So this is the major problem in this particular COVID-19 part. Okay. So next slide. So this makes a more dangerous because if the patients are not treated well, then they might affect the people. Since the disease is spreading in an exponential manner and throughout the globe, so there is very rarely less number of testing facility in the hospital compared to the patients, especially in the third world country. So besides this, there is no such vaccine has been developed so far. So this compels the government of different nations to commit lockdown of the countries to reduce the growth rate. So severe acute respiratory system or coronavirus 2, that is the name of the virus, which actually is the virus which spread the COVID-19 disease. Okay. This next. So according to this is the latest data, 24th June. Okay. So COVID-19 has affected 9 million, more than million individual worldwide, and resulting more than 47,361 deaths. More than 180 nations, almost all contaminates continents apart from Antarctica have reported laboratory confirmed cases of COVID-19. On March 11, 2020, COVID-19 spread rapidly. Now, so what is the main part is that we have to simply testing is the most important part to detect the patient. Now you know that most widely used testing that is used that is called RT-PCR. It is basically the reverse transcript polynomial chain reaction, and that respiratory samples are collected from the individual. So this is called test kit, and that will be simply sent to the particular laboratory for DNA testing and other testing. But what are the problem for this existing system? The existing system, the main problem is that it is very contagious. Medical staff even may be contaminated. It is very expensive. Sometimes time consuming lab-based test. One of the basic drawback it will take maximum 5 to 6 days to get the result. And due to lack of equipment, testing a large number of patients is very difficult. So this is the drawback of the existing testing procedure. What is going on throughout especially throughout the India. Now, the accurate and rapidly and scalable method is required for this alternative testing strategy. This application of advanced artificial intelligence, convolution network based system, biological imaging can helpful for the accurate detection of this disease. Now, why imposing this artificial intelligence? Just let me briefly explain that artificial intelligence, why we are using the artificial intelligence, because we are intelligent the machine so that it can detect more correctly than the human. And other problem is that number of expertise in this field, that means human expertise, say doctors, they are very less. So it's better to train the machine. And if machine can detect using some model that is called CNN based model, this is called convolution neural network model. That is one of the very vital tool in the case of the deep learning or in the field of the artificial intelligence or machine learning, that is used nowadays in the particular medical field very rapidly, so that it can detect the result more accurate than any other human being that can detect. Okay, so what actually is doing, the CNN will take the particular chest x-ray and test that whether the particular image and chest x-ray, and it will detect whether the person has COVID-19 or not. So let me briefly discuss, because since this is the review paper, so what actually the done has been so far. So there is one say they developed the deep learning algorithm to monitor SARS-CoV-2 from CT scan image. So that is one of the scheme that was developed. Similarly, Narin A et al. They present a framework which can detect SARS-CoV-2 infection by using deep learning methodology in chest X-ray image. There are third one, they have developed a dataset from 16 February 2020 and shared by Dr. Joseph Cohen in GitLab dataset, and that was concluded by the author that deep learning method is detecting the COVID-19 disease would be an alternative to traditional test kits, and early detection would help the physician to treat the patient with easy. So that is the some of the review that has been some research work that is going on over here. Similarly, the other paper, that is SETI PK et al. Has proposed a machine method of image processing is done from the chest X-ray images, which is based on deep learning. Here, the support vector machine classifier was used by the researcher in this model. Other part, that is Zhang Lenxi, they COVID-19 screening of the chest X-ray images using deep learning-based anomaly detection according to the clinical studies done worldwide. It has been evident that COVID-19 patient has experienced severe lung infection. So in another point, so that point, please next slide. Now, so that some of the observation we have made, because not so much work has been done so far, that I told you what is the problem here, but some of the observation we made and we observed. Now, what are the objective? First, we observed that how the deep learning based CNN model can be used as an alternative detection scheme. Second, we study various CNN model based on the existing research paper. We show that simulation result, which model is based, and we identify the issue in adopting the CNN-based technique to COVID-19 patients. See? So,
Sir, can
see,
you conclude?
yeah,
Hello?
hello,
Sir, please, can you conclude the presentation?
yeah, sure. So, just let me discuss. The conclusion is, so there are different graphical representations. Some of the model that's showing the highest accuracy rate. Okay, and ResNet 50, that is one kind of model that give the highest accuracy rate. Okay, the main conclusion part of this method is that we have simply existing time system is time consuming. So we propose some alternative scheme for this model. Okay, but the main problem is that the number of chest X-ray available in the different kinds of data set like Kaggle or any kind of data set is very less. So what we are getting, only few number of X-ray is available, chest X-ray is available. Okay, so unless we are not getting the enough chest X-ray, so we cannot identify for the multi-classifier system. Suppose, for example, that when the particular patient has a particular detection, say whether the person is suffering from pneumonia or COVID-19. So unless we have huge number of chest X-ray places available, we cannot identify those things. So that is one of the drawback. So sufficient number of data sets is required for this kind of work. Okay. MRI scan images that can be used easily, but that is very costly and it is not possible for the third world country in all aspects. Okay. So only solution is that we need the different types of chest X-ray report, and that is still now not available. Okay, the data set is not still available in large scale, and that is the point. And future scope is that if it is available, then we can identify the various kind of chest X related problem, and we can do much more research work. Thank you.
Well, sir, thank you for your presentation. Sir, I have a small kind of query regarding for your topic.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, like artificial intelligence will create a one kind of supportive for testing over the corona, right? COVID.
Mhm.
But sir, by using this kind of machinery, by it may be representing the human efforts into the artificial intelligence, right?
Exactly, right. Actually, we are trying to mimic the human expertise in the machine, through a machine.
Yes, sir. But for running of that mission, we need a human effort, right?
Yeah.
But
So,
but we need some kind of training for handling of those kind of missionaries, right?
exactly. We have to develop the model. We have to train them. So we have to sufficient number of trained model. On the basis of that, we can test it. The
But
fact is that
yes, sir, but it takes some more time, right? Means like in present situation, it is takes some more time.
No,
right?
actually training is not will not take time, but we need sufficient data. The problem in this part is that if we don't have the sufficient data, say it's X-ray report, then we cannot train properly. And if the training is not properly done, then the testing result also will not give you the accurate result. Okay, that is the main problem in this method. So we need sufficient, and that's why we are not only for user artificial intelligence, we are using deep learning. Deep means huge number of millions of number of record will be millions of number of data will be appeared over there in the particular training set, and we just test using some few sets. So that is
Okay.
the main objective for the deep learning. Actually, first is machine learning. Then after that, if more data are there, then that is used for deep learning. Previously, actually, it was used in the machine learning. Say support vector machine that was used for the classifier for the stage X-ray. But now it is used deep learning. So where it will give the, especially for the image processing part, deep learning is much more better, give you the much more better result. But the fact is that you need sufficient amount of data, because if unless we don't have sufficient amount of data, it will never give you the correct result or correct prediction. Training is not time consuming, but time consuming is that we need the particular sufficient amount of record or data.
Well, sir, thank you. Thank you for your presentation, sir. Does anyone have any kind of queries? Kindly ask to him. Anyone? Well, sir, thank you. Kindly mute your audio and video, sir.
Yeah, Sam. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Amitava, kindly unmute your audio and video, please.
Yes, sir. I have unmuted.
1 second, sir. I am sharing your presentation.
Yes, sir. I have unmuted.
Is screen visible to you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Continue, sir.
Yes, sir. Good noon, everybody. My topic of presentation is traditional chalk and talk method versus ICT enabled method in teaching learning. Next slide, sir. First, I give the introduction. Education is the backbone of any society, and teaching process is the heart of education system. Improving excellence in education is a critical issue, mainly when everything is becoming globalized. The traditional methodology of teaching and learning is an ancient and formal teaching which involves the direct flow of information from teacher as such as to student as container. This method is characteristically based on prepackaged learning materials, fixed deadlines, assessment tasks, and criteria defined by teachers. Research has shown that the appropriate use of ICTs can catalyze the paradigmatic shift in both content and pedagogy that is the heart of education reform in the 21st century and promote problem-based learning. So next slide. Now regarding my review of literature. In this article, I tried to find the basics of both the traditional chalk and talk method and ICT-enabled method of teaching process with their respective advantages and disadvantages and compared them to find which method is suitable depending on the educational scenario, and the article ended with a concluding remark giving emphasis on the hybrid model using perfect blending of both the aforesaid methods depending on my sample survey. So next slide, please. Research objective. The objective of this research was to compare both the traditional chalk and talk method with the ICT enabled method in teaching learning process and then find which method is better for the students so that for their advancement of learning, because I think it is important to know the perception regarding performance of the teaching method to help them to learn and score better. So next slide, please. Key points for the discussion. Role of a teacher as a primary teaching and learning tool. Brief idea of chalk and talk method, advantages and disadvantages of chalk and talk method, ICT, changes in the teaching and learning process due to emergence of ICT enabled method, impact of ICT enabled method of teaching and education, advantages of ICT enabled method, challenges in implementing ICT enabled method in teaching, chalk and talk and technology, and last of all, which one is better in my concluding remarks. So next slide. Many ways to teach in classroom using teacher as a wonderful teaching tool. That we can see teacher can act as a model in the classroom, as a narrator, as a singer, as a presenter, dancer, mother, friend and as a role player. Now, what is chalk and talk method? Sir, next slide, please. Chalk and talk in academics is a silent way to construct collaborative mind maps or other diagrams with the intent to reflect, generate ideas, check on learning, develop projects, or solve problems. The teacher should not restrict class to just attempt to use the chalk whenever possible. Now, regarding the advantages of chalk and talk method, it keeps the learner engaged throughout the period. It promotes individual thinking, allows all the students to have their say, exposes the students to different ideas and perspectives, promotes reflective thinking. Now, sir, next slide, please. What is ICT? ICT, Information and Communication Technology, refers to all the technology used to handle telecommunication, broadcast media, intelligent building management systems, audiovisual processing and transmission systems, and network-based control and monitoring functions. The modern educational system needs a drastic change. The present status of chalk and talk method does not suffice to the needs of changing scenario of education. The use of ICT tools serves many purposes. Now, the impact of ICT in education and its outcome. Students find the content much easier to grasp, which is being taught by the audiovisual aids. The student can hear the lectures of many teachers of the world at any place at any time. The teachers can create their own blogs and post qualitative stuff on it. Presentation software like PowerPoint can be a good choice for teachers for performing such tasks. Now, challenges in implementing ICT. The main challenge is the lack of infrastructure. In an economically backward country like India, availability of electricity is still a sweet dream in many places. And therefore, many people cannot also avail smartphones, smooth internet connections, and unlimited prepaid call, unlimited prepaid package. They find it difficult to recharge. So the policymakers must keep in mind the constraint of various technological resources before implementing ICT. It must not be arbitrary. The government must extend helping hand to self-financed colleges. Those face financial crunch and those are not in a position to provide ICT tools to the teachers and the students. Now, chalk, what we have to do? Chalk and talk and technology should go hand by hand. The primary goal is to improve students' learning and effective one, and to use technology to enhance the traditional chalk and talk lecture, not to replace it. The students are able to spend more time thinking and less time on writing. In the end, the teacher can feel that they are providing a better learning experience to their students. Now, my research methodology, along with the idea got from the general discussions from different users about my concern topic, I personally performed a sample survey during June 2020 after the outbreak of pandemic COVID-19. The survey was made on a group of different years and semester students of 4 years from 2017 to 2020 of computer science department of my college by simply giving them 3 options to choose, such as 1, chalk and duster method, 2, ICT enabled method, 3, a hybrid model consisting of the above mentioned 2 methods, and ask them to choose which method of teaching they preferred and why. Now, my analysis and findings were that I used to take classes using both the methods up to middle of March 2020, but after the colleges are declared closed due to outbreak of pandemic, I had no other option but to conduct online classes and giving assignments. The survey was performed after the outbreak of pandemic COVID-19 when all the educational institutions were closed. Data of responses from 100 students of computer science, as mentioned earlier, is presented in the next slide. Sir, number 1 option, preferred the conventional lecture by chalk and talk. 40% of students responded yes. Option 2, preferred the ICT enabled methods such as PPTs, online classes, and assignments. Only 13%, this is remarkable, only 13% responded yes. And last of all,
Excuse me, sir.
I wanted to, yes, ma'am.
Sir, time up. You can conclude the presentation.
Okay, madam. So from this presentation and this graphical representation, I can found that no one method is solely essential to advancement of teaching learning process. The perfect mixture of producing desired result. It has been rightly commented, with the help of technology combined with the traditional method of teaching and learning, teachers will be leaders in the transformation of education around the world. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your presentation, sir. Sir, may I know, I think it's all this entire research was been done by using secondary data, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the main purpose for conducting this research, sir? What is the main purpose?
Sir, I wanted to know actually from the 4 faculties of my department, everybody was giving stress on ICT enable method. The institution was giving stress on ICT enable method, but I was finding the students are not so much interested for solely representing the topics using ICT enable method. For that, I wanted to share their opinion about the about which process they are comfortable with. So in this case, I performed this research.
Sir, is this by doing this kind of research, it may be useful for the students, sir?
Yes, sir. Because if I have able to know that the students want both the methods simultaneously. That is, they want to they want CNT method for courses that do not require extensive use of graphics, animations, etc. And they want to get PPT for the other cases. So in that case, I am rescheduling my lectures after the colleges open on August. I will first, during my 1 hour lecture, I will first spend my 15 to 20 minutes by my first 30 minutes giving the concepts on face-to-face interaction using chalkboard. And then for the remaining time, I will show them from 15 slides on my topic. And then
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Kindly unmute your audio and video, sir. Kindly
yes,
mute
sir,
your
thank
audio
you.
and video. And
Yes, sir.
okay, sir. Thank you. And Ayuta Mahanti,
Yeah, I have unmuted my audio and video.
ma'am, is my screen is visible to you?
Yeah, it's visible. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Continue.
So good afternoon, everyone. I am Ayuta Mohanty from Bhubaneswar, and my topic is portrayal of Sita in modern revisionist literature. Next slide, please. So as we know, India is a patriarchal society, and it has a patriarchal tradition and culture. And in this society, literature, media, cinemas, all this play a very important role in forming the mindset, our personality, our thinking. And among the literature, epics forms the basis of any society. They form the foundation of our thinking, of our ideologies. As we know that issues of crime related to women are heard on a daily basis. Every day newspaper contains 1 or 2 articles on different crimes that women face. And one of the major reasons can be the ideologies that has been by the religious and mythological literature. In most of the mythological literature that are mostly written by men, portrayal of women has been mostly it influences how they are portrayed influences the society, and hence the modern revisionist literature will help us to get a new and fresh perspective of the old stories and narratives that we have. Next slide. So for the review of literature, of course, I didn't have much time, so I have reviewed some of the literature. The research proposes to present the Indian epic, the Ramayana, from the perspective of the female character Sita by analyzing the selected contemporary retellings of the epic, using the theory of feminist revisionist mythology in the backdrop. I have selected Sita, the daughter of Earth by Saraswati Nagpal, and The Forest of Enchantments by Chitra Banerjee. According to one of the writers, Carol P. Christ, so she feels that women's stories should be told as it will help other women of any age. Even Adrienne Rich supports the fact and says that it is a way to revision the life of women. It can help in reinterpreting the old text with a new critical dimension. Next slide, please. So the research objective of this paper is to compare the portrayal of Sita in the original epic, that is Ramayana, and in the modern revisionist literature that I have selected. It is to also to highlight the modern interpretations of the narrative, as we can see in these modern retellings. It will help us to analyze the dynamic role of Sita in these retellings, as well as how Sita can be seen as a strong role model for women of any era. The research methodology involves textual analysis of the selected text, comparative study of the original epic and these texts, and applying the concept of feminist revisionist mythology. So what is feminist revisionist mythology? Feminist revisionist mythology means revisioning the mythology from feminist perspective. Next slide, please. So analysis. So when I analyzed, I have taken and compared it with the epic Ramayana, Valmiki's Ramayana. So what I find is that Sita is described as a faithful, docile, meek damsel in distress. Like she is someone who is very obedient, who follows everything that her husband, father, they says, traditional, very traditional in her approach. And she is being protected by Ram, her husband, and she is not capable of taking decisions for herself in many cases. Even if she has taken, it hasn't been emphasized or highlighted. While in Saraswati Nagpal's Sita, we find that Sita is portrayed as a strong woman who took her decisions for herself, and many times her decisions were influenced by her aim to protect her loved ones. For example, while she was in Lanka, Hanuman approached her and asked her that he can rescue her at that moment. She could have gone with Hanuman, but she stayed there. Why? Because if she would have gone, she might have been saved earlier, but Rama's honor would have been on stake. So to protect Rama, she decided that she will wait for her husband to come and fight and save her, rescue her from Ravan's captivity. Similarly, in Chitra Banerjee Dibakaruni's The Forest of Enchantment, Sita not only tells her story, but also includes the story of other women like Urmila, Kaikeyi, Shurpanakha, Mandodari. The Sita in this novel is a very wise, strong, and strong-willed lady. And when she was asked again for the last time to give the Agni Pariksha once more, she decided that she won't give that. If she will give, if she will bend in front of the traditions, in front of the patriarchal thought, then the women will, in the future, will have to bear injustice. They will be cited her example that if Sita gave Agni Pariksha so many times, then you are a normal woman. What is the problem in proving your purity, your your loyalty? So she felt that the future women will have to bear this injustice several times if she will agree to it. That is why she ended her life and went inside the earth. Next slide. So after analyzing both the novels and comparing it with the epic, we can conclude that the way Sita has been portrayed in both the novels, she can be considered a role model for women of any era. Generally, in our society, generally Sita is given example as an example for her loyalty, for her obedience, for her faithfulness. But these novels focus on her strength, her inclination towards knowledge, her strive for self-independence, her decision-making abilities, not just for loyalty and obedience. She has played quite an important role that decided the course and even changed the course of, we can say, course of narrative, and hence he plays a very dynamic role. That's all. These are some of the references. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your presentation. I think you portrayed the difference between the modern seat and traditional seat. I think so, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Ma'am, I think as per your view or as per whatever you deliver, I think uh, there will be a quite difference from the past to present, right?
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you give a small kind of thing what you mostly observe from modern to tradition or tradition to modern?
I feel that because in the traditional epic, Sita has been portrayed as a very meek, docile. It's okay if, the tradition was like that, but the problem is the modern generation needs modern examples. Because, for example, if you take Sita's obedience or anything like Rama left her because people said something about that. If today people will because literature, cinema, all this affect our mentality so much that we keep citing example. So for example, one of the example is the acid attacks. If one of my student asked me that if some we attack I mean we throw acid on any girl, that is considered as wrong. But when Lakshman chopped the nose and ears of Shurpanakha, that was considered right. Why? So these are the things that affects. So I feel if Sita will be given a modernized look, I mean to say as a role model with better with emphasis on better qualities instead of just obedience and loyalty, that would serve as a better example for the present society.
Well, well, ma'am. Well, thank you for your presentation. I hope
Thank you so much.
I hope your kind of presentation will give some kind of awareness in society in future.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
the participants who are participated in this session, Siddharth Roy, Amitav, and Ayut Mahanti. Thank you for these three personalities for presenting their paper, and I hope these three papers give some kind of validations and coming to the feedback and coming to the other sessions. These all kind of things we are planning for the mega session at the end of these 3 days. At that time, I discussed whatever the whatever the feedback, whatever the kind of benefits which we are giving to your sake and your welfare. At that time, I will announce to you all guys. And thank you once again for participating in IRBS 2K20. Thank you so much.
Thank you.